Welcome to Creation Magazine Live. This is the program where we take articles from Creation Magazine and we discuss them and elaborate on them sometimes, and just to give you a flavor of what the types of articles you'll find in a regular Creation Magazine, which is the flagship publication of our ministry. Been that way for over 30 years and it's going into over 100 countries now.
That's right.
Yeah. What are we talking about today?
Well, this is one of those typical articles where the authors are looking at something out in nature that is amazingly designed, some amazing feature in a living thing. In this case, dragonflies. The title of the article is Dragonfly Design Tips. And so, and as with many of these discoveries, they're written up in the magazine, and there's engineers working to duplicate that. For I remember an article years ago on a jet engine. You know, they got that from a squid or an octopus and type, or some type of
like there was a feature in a living thing that they said, "Wow, that's an amazing mechanism." So we're going to try to duplicate that in some.
And look how efficiently it works, and that type of thing. Right. So here's another example of that type of thing. Just how can the dragonfly perform its energetically demanding aerial acrobatics, flying backwards or forwards, fast, slow, or hovering, and remain airborne for such extended periods? The answer, in part, is that it has 4 wings. While many flying insects use only a single pair of wings, and very well too, dragonflies have unusual musculature that allows them to move each of their 4 wings independently, which is a key factor in their ability to perform astonishing acrobatics. So it's a kind of unique in that way. It had been thought that such out-of-phase flapping comes at a cost, i.e. reducing the amount of lift the insect can generate. However, bioengineers have built a robotic version of a dragonfly, attaching sensors at the base of the robot's wings to record lift and drag forces, allowing researchers to calculate aerodynamic efficiency. And as it turns out, that with out-of-phase flapping, the hind wings can extract extra energy from the wake of the air sent by the front wings, reducing aerodynamic power requirements by up to 22%.
Wow. Compared
with a single pair of wings. This mechanism, researchers explained, is, quote, directly analogous to that exploited by coaxial contra-rotating rotors, exemplified by helicopters such as the, and this is the helicopter model, the Kamov Ka-50. What's more, dragonflies have the flexibility to switch between out-of-phase flapping and in-phase flapping as appropriate. When taking off, for example, real dragonflies synchronize their wing beats, thus they are able to lift and accelerate better than if they used only 2 wings or 4 out-of-sync wings. With this new insight into the aerodynamic efficiency of out-of-phase flapping, engineers hope to apply it in the next generation of flapping micro-air vehicles. Sounds like a fun toy. As one bioengineer explained, battery life limits how long micro-air vehicles can stay aloft, so any tips or tricks which enhance aerodynamic efficiency will be warmly welcomed. It defies reason to suggest that an energy-efficient aerial acrobat such as the dragonfly was not intentionally and intelligently designed. In fact, the researchers involved in this aerodynamic efficiency study apparently recognized the difficulty of their finding, or the difficulty that their finding presents to the widely accepted evolutionary scenario, which postulates that 4-winged dragonflies arose long before, i.e. are more primitive than the 2-winged Diptera. Caution, and here's another quote, "Caution must be applied when interpreting the biological significance of the above observations, suggesting that an evolutionary advantage to either 2-winged or 4-winged four-winged forms is unwise. Considering the success and diversity of true flies, Diptera, and yet the maintenance of the 4-winged form by dragonflies since the Carboniferous." So they're urging caution here, and that's where the quote ends. Surely it makes more sense to say that 4-winged dragonflies and 2-winged flies were each designed to do what they do, and what they do well.
Right. Now, of course, evolutionists and atheists like Richard Dawkins has said that biology is actually the study of incredibly complicated things that appear designed.
To be designed, yes.
So this is what they're actually saying is that, you know, he even actually would promote design. He would say, no, things are designed. Natural selection designs things. So, you know, there's these genetic mutations as things are reproducing, and these little changes, if they add a survival benefit, then they get retained in the population, and that's why only the best designs appear. So this is the way they would argue, right?
Yes.
Of course, that leads to some questions. How do you know the difference between something that has been designed and that
only
appears
looks like it was
to
designed.
be designed, right?
Yes.
And yeah, dragonflies are amazing, amazing creatures, but these are supposed to be fairly primitive creatures too, right? I mean, if you think of the so-called tree of life, these guys here, they'd be way down there. They're insects.
They're very, very old. They've been found in the fossil record a long, long time ago.
Right.
And by the way, they look identical, basically identical. There's some actually quite large ones with like 2-foot wingspans
Right.
found in the fossils.
But these creatures can travel at 60 miles an hour, and they can turn on like a hairpin turf, just, you know, turn around. And I know because I've been doing some reading on them. They say that, you know, like a jet fighter, for example, a fighter pilot, of course, he'd black out because of the G-forces of spinning around,
Sure.
you know, at that quick. But they actually have these special sacs that are around, you know, the brain case and stuff like that of a which must be a pretty small brain, you'd figure, for an insect like that. But it will actually protect them so they can do all these maneuvers. And you know, I've heard quotes and say, wow, you know, if fighter pilots only dream about being able to perform some of the maneuvers these things have. Matter of fact, they've got a type of camouflage called motion camouflage, which is...
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
It really is.
Absolutely phenomenal. The concept is, you know, let's say you had a tree here, and you were standing in front of the tree, and your friend was walking by. Now, in order to make it look to him like you weren't approaching, basically what you'd have to do is you'd have to position yourself so you were always in the same trajectory as that tree was, for example. You'd always keep yourself in the same line.
So that the background appears to be not changing.
That's right.
Yes.
Because if I start wandering around like this, you're going to notice. So that's what these dragonflies can do. So if a fly is going along like this, it'll actually be going closer to the fly, but as it does so, it's matching everything it does. And so the only thing the fly knows is that the dragonfly seems to be getting bigger, and by the time they figure out there's something there, of course, they're lunch.
Yeah.
And the military is now trying to create missile systems and things like that to duplicate that because it's so phenomenal. But the computer power to create something that can do that, and just the amount of space that you'd need to create the computer that can do that compared to a little dragonfly's brain.
Yeah.
There's no comparison. And that's supposedly some kind of, you know, primitive creature.
It's amazing. Yeah, again, the design that you see in things as we could say as simple or as ordinary as a dragonfly,
Yeah.
an insect flying around, and yet the design in us, in humans, is as incredible and more than all of the features of the dragonfly. And of course, we're much larger and have many other features, but incredible. There's so many things that we can see that are amazingly designed.
Right.
And to give credit to God is something that this magazine does. It gives the glory back to God as creator rather than saying, like the evolutionists saying, wow, look at how amazing evolution is. It developed all these things. Yeah. And we just need to give God the glory where it's due.